devotees. All of you can to sing along with me, and so you can also make sure that you can also clap your hand and do this kirtan along with us. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनातीरवनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा माधव
Madhava,
राधे
Madhava,
जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह
Lakshmana,
जयो अनंत दे लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो अनंत दे जयो विघ्न विनाश जयो नरसिंहदेव भक्तवत्सला जयो नरसिंहदेव जयो प्रभुपा जयो प्रभुपा जयो गुरुदेव जयो गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह सिंह भगवान की जय भक्त शिरोमणि भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय पतित पावन श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्ण. So with that, let's start today's session as per dear duties. So today we have chapter 18, right? So yesterday we did that. So no, yeah. So not yesterday. So day before yesterday we had chapter 17, and today is what we are going through chapter 18. So this is the final chapter, right? So here Krishna actually summarizes everything that so what is more of like the bhakti path look like, right? And then so there's one verse which all of us should actually write and understand also. And in fact, today's story itself is on that. Actually. So you're able to see the screen, Prabhu? Not yet.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So let's start with Mangala Charana. And before that, we would request all the devotees to keep your videos on, their duties, so that you can get this knowledge as it is required. And then please keep all of your distractions away for next 1 hour so that you can completely immerse in transcendental knowledge, right? So you can close your eyes and join your hands and sing along with me. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let's pay our humble obeisances to our divine Acharya, His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And our Siksha Guru, Sunnath Prabhuji. So, chapter 17. So, what did we learn in the chapter 17 daily duties? So, we saw the division of faith, right? It's called as Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. That means even in the faith also, there are different divisions to it, right? So, either I can have the faith in the God, I can have faith in the demons, and anything that I can have. So what distinguishes in the sense doing that means having that faith where it would lead us. So, we understood, and even in the faith also there are the material because the moment we are born in this material world, so these three modes of material nature is in act, right? So everything that what we do, every activity that what we do is always born by these three modes of nature. That is Rajoguna, Tamoguna, and Sattva, right? And we saw that what are the different lifestyles, like also every activity that what we do in this material world, whether it is a food that what we eat, the association that what we make, the sacrifices, the conduct, the charity, the way we speak, everything is actually influenced by these three modes of nature, right? And then they will also competing with each other, and we should be wary of these three modes of nature. That means which one are we prioritizing is very important. That what we understood, right? And we also went in deep on some of this, right? About the food, about the charity, how different, how probably not doing the charity according to the scriptures, how one can incur sin also is what we saw, right? Because charity has to be done at the right time to the right person and in the right manner, right? We also saw that example of where a person actually helping probably in the midnight to pay the bill for the alcohol that what he's having. So what kind of a sin that he would incur, right? So anything which is given to an improper person and not authorized person, we also incur that one-sixth of the sin. We understood all of that, and then we also went on to see who is the enjoyer of everything, right? So Yajna Tapasam Bhokta, that means every yajna that what we do, the yaga, the food that what we offer, everything who is the enjoyer is nothing but the supreme person of the Godhead is Lord Krishna, is what we say, right? And we also went on to understand what is Shuddha Sattva, right? While the material nature is about these three gunas, but then above all of these conditions, what is Shuddha Sattva? And how one will, what is Shuddha Sattva? It's nothing but serving the Lord, right? And how do you attain that? By doing that ABCD, that association, chanting, reading the books, and following the instruction of the spiritual master, and following that diet or having that prasadam. Actually, it cleanses us heart, and it would what it would do? It would elevate us into that Shuddha Sattva. So today we have chapter 18. So what are we going to see? So we are going to see the summary of the Karma Yoga, right? That means every activity that what we do, because anything that what we do is going to bind us in this world. But then what we have to be focusing on the akarma, that is detachment through attachment. We are going to see the summary of it, and then how the three modes of nature is influencing that, right? And who is the ideal worker? Because every each of us have a responsibility, right? So we are father to some to our children, so we are son to our parents, so we are husband and wives to our spouses, right? So each of us have a responsibility and we will have to play in this material world. Now, given that each of responsibility, even by doing those responsibility, how can one be purified, right? We see that because Krishna consciousness or being in the path of spirituality is not about living everything, right? We will not live anything. We have to, in fact, a person who is not perfect in this material life, right? We can never be perfect in the spiritual life. So, am I a perfect father? Am I a perfect husband? Am I a perfect wife? Is what we have to ask ourselves question. And then we will also see how does an ideal worker look like, right? And then how should our love for the God is what we are also going to see. And then what are the end results of it, right? Because the whole purpose of the Bhagavad Gita itself is to understand the God, right? The whole Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Puranas, all of them might be in different context to teach. But then the whole purpose of the Bhagavad Gita itself is to understand the God, right? So you'll also see what is the result of it, right? And then so like every day, so today also we have this beautiful story which gives the essence of the chapter. So today also we learn about one of the disciples of Ramanujacharya, right? So we have learned about Kuratalvar. So we have the examples of everything. So this another great disciple and a very scholarly person. That means he is helping also. His name is Dasarathi, right? So this disciple is so close to Ramanujacharya, and then he's so scholarly that so whenever Ramanujacharya actually is doing the preaching and he is helping the devotees to understand all the discourse, everything, right? So, for example, if would not remember any shloka from Agni Purana or Padma Purana, anything, right? So, you would ask this Dasharati. So, Dasharati, what is that shloka from Padma Purana that what how it recites? That's what Ramajacharya would ask, and then Dasharati would answer his spiritual master. So, that is the kind of knowledge and scholarly person the Dasharati is, right? So this is going on, and then so there one comes one of the shloka which is very prominent in the Bhagavad Gita itself, right? And also we'll see about that. So it says that Sarva Dharmam Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayasya Suchaha. That means you leave everything and surrender unto me, and I'll take care of you. That means I'll give you that moksha, and I'll make sure that none of these material things actually is causing that sin to you. So this is the shloka, and so in the past when Kora Talwar has asked this question to Ramanacharya, he has explained it. Now the Dasharthi also wants to understand this shloka, so then he comes to spiritual master and asks this question. Oh, my dear spiritual master, so what is the meaning of this Mamayakam Sharanam Vraja shloka? So then Brahmacharya says that no, even to understand that, so you could be completely surrendered to the Lord, right? Because unless you have become a pure devotee or surrendered to Lord, you'll not be able to understand that. I don't think I am eligible, qualified. So this is what Ramanujacharya is saying. So I'm not qualified enough to surrender to the Lord. So do one thing, you go to my spiritual master and ask this question. So then Dasharathy agrees to that. If, of course, although he is spiritual, he knows that how qualified is spiritual master, but then he cannot probably go against his spiritual master's words, right? So then he goes on to his spiritual master and one of his spiritual masters, so Mahapurna and the Shailapurna. So there are two spiritual masters. So he goes to the Shailapurna, and then he asks this question. So, my dear spiritual master of my master, so so I had this question, I asked it, then he instructed that I should go to a person who is completely surrendered. So, he has given your reference. So, please help me understand. So then Shailapurna says that no, I think who can be more better qualified than Ramanujacharya is. Okay, he's a great disciple, and then he has celebrated so many souls on this earth. You should go back and ask his question. So now, although Dashrath is little confused, but then he has to follow the spiritual master instruction, again comes back and then says the same thing to Ramanujacharya. At the same moment, so there is one lady actually who has just got married, and she happens to be daughter of his another spiritual master, that is Mahapurna, Ramanujacharya's spiritual master. So then she is actually around there, and she's crying actually. She's crying with a deep sorrow, and so what has so happened is, so she has got married, of course, by her father, and then so she has been sent to her husband's house. So she has to take care of every house chores, that from starting from cooking, cleaning the house, washing the vessels and utensils, making sure that she keeps everything in order for all of it, because it's a big family that what her husband's family has. So she is the one who is actually helping around everything. And in addition to this, she has to fetch water almost like around 5 to 6 miles away from her house. So every day she has to do it. So she is so tired, and then she goes to her husband and has asked for, can you please help me with the maid servant so that I can get at least get this water from her, and then I can take care of rest of the things. So looking at this, that the husband's family and or rather the husband also is very angry that oh you would need a servant. So that is not possible. Do one thing, you go to your father and ask him. So at the same moment, she has come down to her father, Mahapurna, and then she's asking her, she's asking, is begging from father. So this is the situation that I am in. I'll not be able to do all the house chores because I'm so tired, and then I'm unable to do because I would love to do, but it is just that my body is not helping me to all of this. In addition to get the water from 5 to 6 miles, please help me with the servant. So then Mahapurna replies saying that I myself is a servant of the servant, right? So how can I get you another servant? So do one thing. So Ramanujacharya would be the best person, right? So go and ask him. So he would help. So he is my disciple. So you go and ask him. He would help you. So then this lady has come down there with crying. And the same moment when Dasharat is asking the question, she comes to Ramanujacharya and says that, my dear master, so my father has sent you. I would need a servant. So then Ramanujacharya is also asked the same, says the same. I am also servant, but then I have one idea, right? So I'll give you one person. So he would take care of everything that what you would need to do, and he would help you in every aspect of your life. So I think you should be fine. So at the same moment, then Dashath will understand this. Okay, so my spiritual master is actually asking me to help this lady, Mataji. So I should go with her. So at the same, he'll pay his obeisances to Ramajacharya, and then he goes along with this lady. So she takes her to her village, which is nearby, close by, and then he would help her in everything actually, so starting from the cooking, washing the utensils, making sure that everything is ordered, mopping the floor, cleaning the house, making sure everything is ready for that puja vidhi vidyana, everything he will be doing it. And during that actually, so at the same moment there is another scholarly person who is around that village, who comes to preach actually. Okay, so he is around that place and he is preaching, and this news reaches to Dasharathi also. So then he is very so obviously he is so down to earth person, right? So he is always longing for the knowledge. So then he also wants to listen to it while he is giving the class everything. So then so with whatever dress that people suppose that will be cooking at that time. So with the dress that and with the spoon that what he has, he'll go to that gathering also to listen to this master. So this person, he's actually giving all the knowledge, everything. He's imparting all the knowledge, but then Dashati observes that he's not giving it completely because he's preaching it in a wrong manner. That means he's not giving the knowledge in a manner it's supposed to be, but then he's actually misguiding devotees is what he observes. So then at that moment, after some time, he cannot take it anymore. So Dashrathi stops that person and says that, my dear master, I think probably, so this is what, so he tries to correct him. So then the other person, the scholarly person who is preaching, right, he'll get little agitated and he says that, hey, who are you? Looking at him, the dress and the spoon that what he's carrying, he knows that, are you a cook? He says, Dashrathi says, yes, I am. So then I think you should do your duty properly. You are not supposed to be sitting here and listening. Instead, you should go back and do complete your work. So then Dasharathi, of course, he pays obeisances. He doesn't get agitated or anything because he's a liberated, he's elevated soul himself, right? So he pays his obeisances and goes back. But then that thought actually starts lingering in his mind, right? If all the people who have gathered there, right, if they have to listen to this spiritual, the master, this person who is giving a wrong discourse, everything, right? So what would happen to those poor people, right? So they would get the wrong understanding of, and they'll follow that, and they'll also instruct other persons also. So then he cannot bear this himself. So again he comes back, and then he'll start giving the discourse himself in front of everyone. He will start explaining things, the same meaning of Sarvadharmam Pariteja, and then so lot of whatever shlokas that what he had used, the discourse on the Bhagavatam, so all the saptah that whatever he was doing, right, he would continue to do that in place of him. So listening to this, all the people who had gathered, right, they get mesmerized, including that the master who was preaching back then. So then he comes closer to him at the feet of Dasharathi, and his pays complete. He does that complete Dandavat Pranam, and he says that, my dear master, I'm probably I thought probably I'm a scholarly person, but listening to you, I realized that how low I am. So please forgive me. May I know who you are, right? So then at that moment, Dashrathi, with the very shyness, he says that I'm Dashrathi, I'm a disciple of Ramanujacharya. So hearing this, actually, people would get completely mesmerized and excited because so even those days, right? So everyone would know the names or would get the news actually, but then it is very difficult to meet in person, right? Because obviously they did not have such a great mode of transport, everything. So back then, so everyone had heard about Dashrathi, how great scholarly he is, how great of a person he is, right? But then none of it have seen. But the moment they hear about that, right, everyone pays their humble obeisances and then get and actually celebrate him. So they will carry all over him through that village, and in fact to the same house where he has been servant, right? So they also pay obeisances and they realize their mistake, right? So they realize their mistake that how such a elevated soul like Dashrathi has come to serve the family. So they'll understand what great of a soul he is. They pay their obeisances, and from then they'll carry all the way into to Ramacharya's house also. So then Ramacharya is actually preaching and then looking at them. So Dashrathi gets down, he asks everyone to please let him down and he pays his obeisances and then comes to his master. So then Ramacharya asks this question. So now you understand that meaning of that shloka, Sarvadharmam Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja. So then Dashrathi says yes. So what do we that understand here, dear devotees? So it is by complete surrendering to the Lord, right? How do you surrender to the Lord? Because spiritual master is the one who would give us that life, right? The spirit, he would be the gate for the spirituality. So he is the one who teaches us what a spirituality, who is God. He is the one who is going to show us. He is in the first floor, right? And we are in the ground floor. So he has taken the same path from the ground floor to reach the first floor. And from first floor, he is able to see a lot of things that what we do not have. Because his vision is higher, his consciousness is higher, right? So the purpose of both the spiritual master and the normal devotee is both of them to serve the Lord. But then who is going to help us in doing that? It's only the spiritual master, right? So by surrendering to the spiritual master, by following this instruction, right? By completely having that faith, right? So that is when one who can surrender to the Lord. So this story emphasizes on how submissive we should be to the spiritual master, right? How should one should do that bhakti? The kind of love that what we should show to the God who can show us, it's only the spiritual master, right? So with that, so today's acronym is dear devotees, it is SMILE, right? It is summary of karma yoga is what we will see. Again, the modes of nature, who is the ideal worker, even in this material world, and then love of God, how it looks like, and then the results of all of this, right? And so today's chapter is called as Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. It is called. That means how would one would attain moksha, and even by being in the material world, one can do the sannyas, right? Because we might think that so there's a lot of difference between a sannyasi and a grihastha, right? So we also know about Bhakti Vinod Thakur, right? So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, until his last day, remained as a grihastha. He is actually a spiritual master of the Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Swami, right? So his spiritual master is forgot the name. So, and his spiritual master is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Swami, right? So he being a grihastha, right? So throughout his life, he was still able to liberate many of the souls, right? So imagine just about so what can so he has Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he being himself a magistrate, right? So he was such a high qualified position that what he was in even in back in those days. So even with that position, he was able to serve the Lord through his books and through his all of his scholarly knowledge. He wrote hundreds of books, right? So Shweta says Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. That's correct. Thanks, Mataji. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji's spiritual master is Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right? And so through that, he could be even by Gruhastha, right? He was able to be a spiritual master for many of those souls. He helped bring our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada himself, out of all of this through his succession, right? So it is not about how probably I'm detached from this material world. No, even being a grihastha, even as a father and a mother, even being a son, right? How can one be completely surrendered to the Lord? So that is the lesson that what we are going to learn in this chapter today, right? And in the Karma Yoga, right? So what did we see? So what is the true renunciation, right? Acting with detachment is a true renunciation, right? Because we might think that, oh, I live, so I have listened to all of these chapters. So this is what Prabhu has said about we should be detached from our material things. So let me stop probably taking my child to the school. No. So let me stop cooking and then serve the Lord by making prasadam and not coming to the kitchen. No. So we should do everything whatever we are doing. It is just that we have to add Krishna to the center. And that means everything that what we do, when we do it for Krishna, so that will become a karma. Otherwise, anything that is, for example, so we might have many zeros in our life. Let's say that we have a bank balance, that is one zero. We might have a very good career, so that's another zero. We might have a great family, let's say another zero. But until and unless I add one to it, so will that any zeros, any number of zeros that what we have would have any value to it? It is not, right? So you might have many of the material opulences until and unless Krishna is present, that is number one in the beginning, right? Unless we add that one, there is no meaning of any of those zeros. And then you might have everything in material life, but the moment you add Krishna to it, right, you are so successful. That means you were able to serve the Lord with all the material opulences you have by keeping Krishna in the center. So that is the true renunciation, right? So we should be detached from the food. That means it is not that I can enjoy everything myself. That is not how one should be doing, right? So it is the renunciation that with that sannyasa. So he also says that renounce the order of life, that sannyasa and renunciation of the fruits of action, tyaga, are the same, right? So there is one beautiful story also on this actually. So there is one sadhu, right? So he is a very scholarly. He has learned himself all the Vedas, everything. He's Sarva Veda Parangat actually. Okay, so he is doing actually tapasya in his ashram, and so at the same moment, so there is one sparrow actually which is flying by, and then it tries to get onto a tree, but then unfortunately it falls down into the lap of this sadhu actually who is sitting and doing tapasya. So actually disturbs him. He opens his eyes and we gets very angry that the sparrow actually disturbed him. So he just opens his eyes, he gets really red with his eyes, and then he looks at that sparrow and it gets burnt into ashes. So then this sadhu is also very surprised that he has got this power because of his tapasya and austerities, he has got this power that if he gets angry at anything, right, with his eyes red open, so he gets burnt is what he learns. So then he understand this power of his, and then he goes on like how does the sadhu or sannyasi would live actually? So by begging, right? So they would go to every house, so they would ask for that bhiksha, and that's how they lead us because they would not have launch or probably they would not aspire or desire for any material things. So then he goes to this one of that house. So this lady who is serving his husband, and then he said, "Bhavati Bhikshandehi." He asked for it. So the moment passes, and then he doesn't hear anything actually. So then again he loudly says, "Bhavati Bhikshandehi." So this lady answers from the inside the house. She says that I'm serving my husband, so give me a moment, I'll be back. So then he waits for probably like 15-20 minutes. There is no response. No one comes out of the house, and so then he calls for that lady again. So you said that I should wait, and he gets really angry, gets agitated, and then you ask me to wait, and then you don't respond, and he's very angry. By then the lady comes out, with the bag of rice to give it to that some sadhu, and then looking at then, so you said that you're serving her husband. Yes, of course I was serving my husband, so that is why it took time. So I was just keeping everything ready for him for that puja, so that's why it took time. And of course, so I'm here to serve you or give you that bhiksha. So please accept it. So then, looking at Sadhu, she realized that he also has got very angry. So then he says that I'm very angry. But then at the same moment, looking at his red eyes, everything, that lady says that you think I would be that sparrow who you burnt out of these eyes. So hearing this, Sadhu gets completely perplexed actually. So he is out of almost like out of his mind that whatever he could do in his ashram, how is that it is possible that this lady has known? So then he says that, oh, so how did you get this? I can know things that what happens around me, around this world also. And how did she get that? She gets only by serving her husband. So you get the difference, dear devotees? Even by being a sannyasi, where he could renounce all the orders of his life, whatever he material things, everything, by doing that tapas, he could get that power to burn something. But then, whereas even by serving her husband, even by being a family, a whole family, not living everything, being with the gruhastha, that lady is able to get more power than that sannyasi, right? So that example should emphasize us that we should continue to do every thing that what we have as a responsibility in this material life. None of it is what we should live. That is not the true order of renunciation, right? So true order of renunciation is completely doing our duty in presence of the Lord. Everything that what we do, how we dedicate that back to the Lord without having to expect any results, right? So that is nothing but the pure renunciation. We will also see about it how the ideal worker would look like in couple of minutes, right? So work performed in this way his renunciation in the mode of goodness, because we can do work in any mode of our life, right? Because we also see how people would do the work in tamo guna, rajo guna, and sattva guna also, right? So what one we are choosing it, right? So here also it beautifully says here, right? Nahi dehe pratap sakyam tyaktam karma shestah yastu karma phalatyagi satyagitya abidhyate. That means it is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all the activities. But he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. So, is it possible for us to not do any of the activity? It's impossible. We have understood these five things, even Arjuna's orders also, right? So, his question that Kshetra, Kshetrajna, the Atma, Paramat, all of this we have understood, right? That five aspects of it. So does that tell us that oh no, we'll not be able to do any of the activity? I'll be able to completely renounce our life? No, it is impossible. If that is the case, how then we should be how we should be performing it? By attachment through detachment. That means we should attach to Krishna, right? So that way, even when you're performing our activities, we will not be able to incur any sins, right? So that is how we should. That is the true renunciation. And notice another very key aspect is motivation from the false ego, right? Because we should not think that I am independent, I am great, I'm the one who is doing it, right? Because that is the false pride that what all of us would have, right? Because I am the owner of it, I am the one who is owning it. No, it is Krishna who is giving us everything, right? So the good family that what I have, the greatest career that which gives me handsome of money by end of month, right? So the beautiful car that what I have, right? Everything what Krishna has given. How beautiful it would be to engage that in the Lord service, right? So therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the five factors, is certainly not very intelligent. That's what we understood, right? And does not consider the final doer the supreme Lord. So all of this is a false ego. It's attributes to the false ego, right? And then motivated by the false ego, he considers himself as independent and doer of one's action. He thinks that okay, I am the enjoyer, right? So they do not respect the scriptures. And starting from the day we wake up until we do, we will completely with that false ego, right? So even about like doing that kirtan also. So how many of us would actually completely with the open heart would do that kirtan, clap our hands, or do kartal, and then sing? Will not be able to do. Who is the person who will not be able to do that kirtan? We have seen this in our in the problem. I'm not sure whether if you have attended any of the ISKCON kirtans or be part of it, right? If you see there, right? So people will be very happy. They will completely dancing without having to realize who is beside us. So people would be very completely immersed in it. They'll be singing, dancing, do all of it. So you think that they are not intelligent, they are mad. No. So who cannot dance or probably sing? So those who have Lopa Mother Matsari in our heart, right? Who think that okay, I am high, right? Who thinks that oh, probably what others might think. Who think that oh, I am not such a person that oh, I'll just go and clap my hand and sing in front of. So when we have that Loba Mother Master in our heart, right? So that is when we cannot do. So that is the false ego that what each of us, many of us carry. right? So I'll be taking the examples of the session that what we do so that we are more relatable. It doesn't mean that okay, I'm actually putting someone down or not making it's just for us to understand in more a better context, dear duties. Otherwise, please do not take me wrong there. So that way, it is very important for us to understand that how submissive or how much trust that I have in the Lord, right? So that motivation that what we should be getting is to be serve the Lord, not by the false ego, right? And what is the true motivation, right? So yasyanah krato bhavo buddhir yasyana lipyate atvapi sa imal lokam na hanti na nibadhyate. That means one who is not motivated by false ego, right? That I am the doer, I am the one who is controlling, I am owning it, right? Whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. So these are two extreme things, right? What we are saying. So one, even being in the material world, so in the material world, even the smallest of small things. So we talked about having prasadam, right? So it's not that only people who kill other animals and eat non-vegetarian, only non-vegetarians are doing the sinners. No, even the people who eat vegetarian are also sinners, right? The air that what we forget about the food, the air that what we breathe, right? We know that even in that air also there are hundreds and thousands of bacteria in there. The moment we take those, what happens? We're killing those bacteria through our nostrils, through our air, everything, right? And so that is where we have seen even in some of the religions where they would cover their mouth with the white cloth so that they do not inhale. But in reality, what is happening? So we are inhaling and then we're killing. So even that is also sin, right? So even the smallest of small things, when we do not do in the context of Krishna or by not submitting to Lord Krishna or in his service, is a sin. Whereas in this shloka, what Krishna is saying, those who do not influenced by the false ego, one who has surrendered, one who is a devotee, even when he kills them in the another man, he is not bound by his actions. How is that possible? That is because anything that we do in the Lord's service, that means when I do that bhoga to serve the Krishna, to serve Krishna, right? Not for my sense gratification. When I serve my husband, so that I serve him so that he can actually serve more the Lord, right? I help him in all the daily chores. I make sure that my children, right, so are actually getting a better education to serve the Lord. I make them more Krishna conscious, right? I help them do that bhakti. I help my neighbor do that. I help my in-laws how to chant better. So and I use my car to take my family member to a temple or to the Ratha Yatra, right? Every money that what I get, right? Like for example, 10% of the money that every month that what we get, if I utilize that to buy the books of Srila Prabhupada, distribute that, do Sankirtana, right? So where we can prepare prasadam, call our neighbors, friends, and acquaintances, right? So where we serve them and give this, impart this knowledge. All of this nothing but devotional service, right? So when we do all of this, right, even whatever air that we breathe, the food that what we are eating, the activity that what we are eating, none of that will incur sins, because otherwise every activity that what we're in the material world is actually anchoring us back into this world, every activity without Krishna. But if you do anything in this material world, being keeping Krishna in the center, so all of them would be without reactions. That means it will become a karma. So that is the motivation or the renunciation in this shloka, right? And then motivation from super soul. So how we should be getting that, right? So Supreme Lord is the ultimate cause. That means sarva karana karana, right? That means he is the reason of all. He is the cause of all the causes, right? The sun who is in the order. So who did direct the sun that okay he should rise in this time and he should give light to this? So without sun and the moon, is it possible for us to have this the crops that whatever we are growing, everything? It's not possible. Who is making that the timely manner in which the rain should happen? Right. So everything, including the animals, whether it is Jalachara or whether it is movable, immovable, everything is in order, and that happens with Lord's mercy. Right. So one in complete Krishna consciousness understand under the direction of the super soul within the heart. Right. What it does, it naturally not bound by any activity. So none of that actually is bindsy. Right. And is think Krishna as the supreme cause. That means I am not the owner of anything, right? The family that what I have, right? And in fact, the form family that what we have given, right? It's nothing but children, Krishna's children. So I should be serving that. Okay, he's a Krishna's child. So how I should be serving him? By doing all of that to take care of Krishna's children, right? So that is how I should be serving, and not does not get enamored by the fruits of their actions. It is not that okay, I do this, so let me do this yaga yajna public sankirtana so that I get my name. So let me do this sankirtana so that people can appreciate me. No. So by doing this, let me impart this knowledge, right? So let me call, so probably one of the master who can give the spiritual knowledge. So I have now attended this 18 days of session. I have got this knowledge. Now, how do I impart this? How do I invite someone, right? And so take an example of ourselves, right? Same example, right? So how many of us have been able to attend all of this 18-day session? The day we started off, right? So we were almost like around 80 or 77, 80 of us. And what is the number today? So it is like almost like 40, 45. That's the average count that what we see. Why is that it is because that whatever that force, that material three modes of nature force that what we are influenced, right? It is not that they are bad or someone's writing is good or something, but that influence of this material mode is so strong that Maya, it will pull us down. So who can? So the determination is what is very important. Until and unless we're determined. So there are people, devotees, and who can understand this knowledge? Only a devotee. And what is the first characteristic of a devotee? Shraddha, the determination, right? The discipline, right? So those who would, so there are many of us here, right? So no matter what, whether another person attends or not, every day 5:30 will get up, make sure that I'm video is on. I'll sit in front of the this class and I try to listen, and those are the people who are getting benefited by it, right? And we keep asking about to switch on the video. So does all of us be able to do that? No, because that whatever that tamo guna that what we have, the rajo guna that what we have, it will not just let us do it, right? So we have to be determined. So we have to take that first step to complete that. And so you can ask about people who have switched on their video and they're able to listen to it. You have to, if you have any of their friends, right? So one friend comes and tells you this, hey, you know what? I listened to this 18 days chapter. So how beautiful it was. So I got that knowledge. I have some realization, right? You think that, oh, really? I did attend also 18 days session, but I am not able to realize, right? And this another person who has not even attended a couple of classes. So he has missed a lot more than what these two persons are talking about, right? So that way, so this Maya, right? These three modes of nature is actually pulls down in everything that what we do. And say one fine day we would have thought that okay, well, today I started at 6:15. Probably I must have missed something. So tomorrow I'll make sure that I'll start at 5:45. Will you able to do that? No. So something or the other would have pulled up. So that is where determination that is very important, right? So the chanting. So not sure whether each of us would have chanted, right? Or probably would chant by now, because each of us should be chanting at least one round one hour. Are we doing it? Right? Because that's the first thing. Until and unless we have the chanting, right? It is not possible to get this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. Believe me, you can go to the YouTube, you can hear from Surnath Prabhuji, in fact, from Srila Prabhupada's videos, anything that you might do. But until and unless I have determined and have made myself very clear that I will believe in the God and surrender, you will not be able to get this transcendental knowledge. It will just be a material knowledge. Just like how we know that having to do the exercise is good for our health, having to do this would keep me fit, but we'll never be able to do that. Right? So just like that, this knowledge would just remain material, will never become transcendental, right? And by doing that motivation through the Supreme Soul, what happens? Not motivated by false ego. That I am not the controller. And then intelligence is not entangled. So what happens? Because every talent and intelligence what we have should reuse that in the service of the world. But otherwise, I will be using for all only the material or the sense gratification. And the modes of nature that what we have seen is very detailed, right? That mode entangles us according to our mentality. Everything, the knowledge, the action that what we do, understand, determination, happiness. Because happiness is something that what we start getting even by serving the Lord also. But then what we do, we will try to find that happiness in the material things. So let's say that you want to buy a probably a very beautiful phone, probably like 45, 50,000. So you'd be completely waiting for it. Like, so first you would make sure that okay, you are accumulating that money to buy that actually. So you would keep on adding money, and the moment of probably use your credit card to buy that, and you're completely waiting once you order it from the shop or from that e-commerce site. So you'll be waiting for it. Oh, let me wait for this beautiful mobile to come. So that probably the one of the very beautiful gift I can do that in my life. So you'll wait. The day comes when the person is also comes. You're very happy. Oh, now I got my phone. So when you're even opening, also you are so happy. Oh, how beautiful! You hold that in your hand. So you look through the features. You enjoy it every day. A day passes by. A day one, two, three, four. After like a month or two, you won't get as excited or happy as you were about 2 months ago when you were waiting to receive that phone, right? So why is that? Because a material happiness is temporary. So we think that it is permanent. The car that what I get, the beautiful car that what I'm launching for, XUV 700 is what I should buy. No, I should buy probably a BMW or probably Audi, right? So everything that what we launch for, even when you buy it or when you have it, right, it is all because of the false ego and it's nothing of them, it is permanent, right? So all of that is temporary. But what is that true happiness or the permanent happiness is being one with Krishna. And only the devotees who have taste for it, who have tasted this, will realize that. So until that, we would be just doing all of our actions in this material world, right? And also the knowledge, right? So what does goodness says is sees everything as same spirit, soul, and absolute, right? So today's world also is the kind of education that what we aspire for to try to get it out to children. So what do we do? So we get them to the probably the greatest of the international schools. So paying lakhs and lakhs of rupees, and then so what do we get out of it actually? So is it like so the science, social, mathematics, everything that what we have learned, right? So how much of has it been useful to us? So even as children that what we have learned, right? It is not that it is not useless, I wouldn't say, but then it is not as useful as what it's supposed to be the knowledge, right? So true knowledge is what comes from Bhagavad Gita. But is there any school or any institution actually which teaches the Bhagavad Gita as probably as a curriculum or as part of the academic? No. So what the world has done? So the world has done that I would teach all the material knowledge in this world, right? But I'll not teach the true knowledge. So that's what exactly that what we also try to get our children to, right? So we know that okay, it's not you. If it is not has been useful to us, right? So how useful it can be to our children. So maybe it has helped us to secure probably a job to earn the money, right? But is it all everything? No, we are only enjoy materially. But then have we gotten that real transcendental knowledge? Is it been like the education that what we think, or probably the knowledge that what our children is able to get, right? Is it been so that is way we should become a better parent, right? So when we understand this transcendental knowledge, when we follow those rules and regulations of that the four principles of dharma, right? That and the four regulative principles and the way like the ABCD of it that what we follow, right? So that is when our children also will learn, right? So they'll automatically get that, right? So there are no offense to any of them, but so we have seen religions where strictly those people, the parents would take their children to that place every Sunday, right? And also during like on a specific day, they would make sure that they follow that, and the festivals they religiously follow. So they impart that. So how many do that, right? Do we take our children and we make sure that we let our children sit with us and do Mangal Aarti every day morning? Do all of us do that? Do we make sure that okay, every festival we explain them what is significance? The Deepavali that what we do. It is the welcome of Lord Ramachandra to Ayodhya, right? Do we explain all of the significance and then celebrate in a way manner it is supposed to be? Do we do all of that? No, most of us do not. But then we should understand that we should keep our faith, right? We should bring back those practices. And how was that done in back then? You remember the way we used to celebrate our festivals along with our parents and grandparents, right? It was completely different. We were completely immersed in it. So how enjoying it was. But today, what has happened? So because the run for the we are actually running the race, right? So at least in the villages and other small tier B cities, I think it is still there, but forget about Bangalore. So it's all material here, right? So that means we'll be running for our lives, and then we have forgotten our roots, right? And because we have minus Krishna from our life, right? Because everything that what we are doing for only self-gratification, with that, there is no way that we'll be able to get that, right? And then the passion. So the person who is in the passion or in the prajoguna, right? It's a different soul in everybody's, because I might think that, oh, now I understood that I am soul. Okay, but the person who is in Rajoguna and everything is a soul, that person is Rajoguna, right? What he would say, oh, this is a cat soul, this is a dog soul, that is what he would understand. Even that knowledge also could become material, but doesn't matter whether it's animal, human being, or anything, right? Everything is a soul, right? But then even a Rajoguna person would understand in a differently. That means we might think that I'm getting that knowledge, but then the framework that what I fits in would still be a material framework. And to make it completely translate into what one should be doing, so we should be determined and submit to the Lord. We should become a devotee through that ABCD. That's when we'll be able to get that complete knowledge. And forget about the ignorant person, right? It's attached to one kind of work as all in all materialistic. So there is no question of so the complete darkness. That means it doesn't even understand it's in a realm of unknown. He would completely think that, oh, this session, oh come on, I can get this in the YouTube. So what big about it? I know better than this, because I have read that Bhagavad Gita all by myself. Right. So that is a kind of ignorance that what one person we think that, okay, this might not help me in anything, because the knowledge that what already I have, this is not going to add any value to it. So that is a kind of influence what this Maya or the material nature can have on us, right? And then the action and the worker, right? The goodness, the person is the goodness. What he would be is always regulated. That means is determined, disciplined, right? And is no matter what, however, whatever the time is, whatever situation that he is in, he's still able to follow that in determined manner. Perform without attachment, love or hatred, without desire of fruitive results and false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, right? We have seen also the passion, how greedy he would be, envious, and none of that is what it gets satisfied in a person with a Rajoguna. Whereas in a Tamoguna, it is all with the illusion, right? Oh, I'm the one who is controlling it. I'm the one who is taking care of it, and he doesn't even understand that how ignorant or darkness that he was. And then so we also have seen this, right, in the back in those old days. So now we actually go to the supermarket or probably go to a shop and buy. So back then, so what used to happen? So with all these vegetables, fruit sellers, all they used to come near to the house, right? They would carry the cart or their basket in on their head, and they used to come down to our houses back in those days. And how they would used to give us devotees? So they would have the scale in their hand, right? Takdi is what we call, right? So they would put that this in the crop or whatever they want to sell, fruits or vegetables, and well, if you ask for 1 kg, right? After 1 kg, you would put 1 or 2 carrots more and they'll give it to you. It's called as a kosu, is what they call it as. That means he would add more than what he has already weighed as 1 kg and give it to you. And why he was doing that? Because he knew that well, he has the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad. He knows that if I have to take anything more from this person who is giving this money or buying this, right, I'll be bound to that. I mean, I'll be entangled in this or the next life, right? I'll be a servant, or probably I'll be attached to this person. Instead, let me give more so that it helps him. And this person also, right, when he takes, he'll be very happy. So he'll be talking to that person. He would use that for his good things and be happy. And back then, so whereas in today's world, so what happens? So this today's world, even the same person if he comes, he would try to do. So how do I reduce that 1 or 2 carrots actually? Even out of 1 kg, how do I make it a 750 or probably 980 grams so that I can save the 20 grams? Because if he saves 20 grams and he sells by evening, he would have saved 3 to 4 kgs by himself. He can make more money. So that is the kind of attitude that what today's world is. Because so all of this is ignorance. So we try to cheat. And back in those days also, everything was like there was no question of money there, right? Because for example, if someone is probably growing all the vegetables or crops, right? So you would give all the crops and then you would buy the vegetables. So that is how the transaction was, right? And then so back then everyone used to see how the other person more can be benefited. It's not that I should not a selfish motive, right? It was how do I help the other person get more things? How do I help that person? And everything was more about being selfish. Just imagine if everyone is more so not selfish, selfless, right? If everyone is selfless and that other person should get benefited, how beautiful that world would be, right? It is just we talked about just that vegetable vendor and the person who is buying it. But then what if everyone is able to be so selfless? right? How beautiful that world would be, right? So that is the kind of action and worker we should be, not by being very selfish, influenced by our thought of being greedy or lusty. No, that should not. It should be selfless. How do I serve that other person, right? And what is the understanding that what we have, right? Goodness knows what is to be done and not done. So if the moment I get see the 100 rupees on the road, right, I should know that what I should be doing with it, right? And then what is to be feared and not feared. I know that which will entangle me, which will fear or not fear. So all of that is possible only with that knowledge that what we are, and we should understand what is binding us. Anything that we do in the sense gratification actually binds us. We just saw the example of breathing, eating non-prasadam, or not following the scriptures, or giving a charity for the fame and name. So all of that will cause bind us, right? What does liberate us? According to scriptures, anything that we do and for the happiness of the Lord, we'll do that, right? And the passion cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, right? We think that okay, people would understand the same case, right? So, for example, cheating, right? So why does he think that cheating is normal? Because everyone is doing it, right? If he is actually saving those 50 grams by not putting that one carrot, the same thing that what the other person who's ordering bulk is also done. Probably he has added one bag of probably a rotten carrot to him, right? So that way he thinks that okay, but cheating is not bad. But then what is happening? Whether you know it or do not know it, but you're incurring the sin, right? So whether you know that the fire would burn you, or whether you know it or do not know it, but if you touch, it would actually burn you, right? So that way, whether you do it knowingly or unknowingly, the result is definitely certainly confirmed. So that way, we should be wary of that. We should have that knowledge. So what is binding us and should be able to take care of. And what about the ignorant? That he considers irreligion as to the religion. He thinks that okay, cheating is life. So you've seen these many of the things like the builders, what they do. So you'll see that how much like how can I extract the money from this buyer? Right. So what they do? So they will give you all the false promises that you will get probably 20 by 20 parking space, a beautiful clubhouse, everything. And what you'll get? You'll not even have a generator there. Right. So that way, so this ignorant person who is not having that knowledge, right, you try to see how better I can cheat this person, and he's always under the spell of illusion, right, and the darkness, because he doesn't even understand the knowledge. There is no question of the realm of unknown, right? So even I take a case of this knowledge, right? The moment I am think that okay, I am a servant, right? The moment I think that I do not know, right? So that is when I can get a knowledge. If I sit here in this class thinking that, oh, I already know this knowledge, so this person might not be able to give this, or probably getting up early in the morning and attending these sessions would help me, or keeping these videos. What difference would it make if I keep my video on or off, right? So I might have all of my logic and things, right? So with that, will I be able, but that illusion, the darkness, what happens? We'll not be able to get that. That means we'll not be able to understand the realm of unknown at all. So only when we understand that there's something which I don't know, right? Because until I understand that I don't know, will help you understand it. But if I don't even recognize, if I acknowledge that I don't know, so what happens? I'll never be able to get that knowledge. So that is the state of these ignorant persons, always in a wrong direction. So what happens? If you take a first path wrongly, right? If there are directions to a village, right? And then if you take a wrong path, what happens? You'll be only getting drifted away from that path, right? You would be never be able to reach the destination. That exactly that what happens with this ignorant or samaguna people also, right? And the determination is always unbreakable for the goodness, right? With the people with the sattva guna, right? They control their mind, their happiness, all of the passion. People who with the passion is always with the sense gratification, right? And ignorant person, so every day they will be falling down. And it is complete, it is sure that the next life that what they do is a hellish life only. There is no question of human being. And forget about even animal also. Yes, they might be animal, but then so they would degrade from animal life. Right? Even in animals also there is a different class of life. For example, elephant is most intelligent of all, right? And then there would be a life of probably wild animal like lion or cheetah, right? Then there's aquatic animals, which is the most probably the abominable state of all the animal class, which is under the like ocean or sea, where they'll not be able to get the sunlight. The aquatics, right? So they will not even get the sunlight, even though they are born on this earth, right? So that is a degradation that what each of us have. And further down, we will get into the hellish planet. So there's no question of earthly or heavenly planet will get. And whereas a person, the goodness, right? It might not be pure sattva, but then it would help us elevate ourselves into at least the heavenly planets. When we go into pure sattva, so that is where the liberation is, right? And happiness, so we have seen all of this, right? And happiness is poison at the beginning because same example of when we want to get up, what happens? Oh, come on, man. How do I get up at probably 5 and take bath at this time? So it's very difficult. Anyways, I have to go to the work. It looks like very difficult or poison at the beginning. But if you determine, you instead of snoozing that alarm, if you wake up, switch it off, and if you determine that okay, I'll attend this class. So what's happening? You'll end with a nectar, right? You'll get that knowledge, right? And then by that you'll also have a self-realization. If for the passion, nectar it first. That means when you snooze that, it will keep you happy. Right? Oh, come on, I got another 10 minutes or probably 30 minutes to enjoy my sleep. Who doesn't love sleeping? Everyone, right? So, but then if it has pushed you in that tamo or rajoguna, what happens? You will start missing it, right? And so that sleep. Just give me 1 second, dear devotees. And then the same case with nectar at first, actually. So, guess, oh, I got a beautiful sleep. I should enjoy now. And what happens at the end? So you would have passed by another 30 or 40 minutes. Now you have lost that time for the class also, right? And then it always be influenced for that sense gratification. And the ignorant person, he has missed class one, two, three, everything. He would probably wake up at 6:10 or 6:30, and he has attended that class for some time. He thinks, oh, something good is happening. Or maybe I don't think it is worth it to do it tomorrow. I can do that even using the YouTube also, right? So that is the kind of this one mode in which this pushes us. And the happiness, we think that okay, it is a happiness if we think in the beginning, but then what it is pushing us into the complete state of poison, right? And who is the ideal worker, right? So we have seen this, right? So there are four social orders and duties. So we have seen Kshatriya, Vaishya, Brahmana, and then Shudra. So each of them have that prescribed duties is what we have to perform. But in today's world, is that what is happening? No. The people who are supposed to be protecting us, like the politicians or people who are who the soldiers, everything. So so what do they do? Actually, they try to be so selfish that how do I make more money, right? If that is the kind of prescribed duty that what they should be performing with so much of ignorance, so what happens to the rest of the world, right? So that is the problem with the today's Kali Yuga, right? So the people who are supposed to be doing that is not doing the prescribed duty in a proper manner. So with that, obviously, we are getting more entangled in this life. And even a case of in a Brahmana, right? What are the so those qualities of a Brahmana, right? So I think there should be 12 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 qualities of a Brahmana, right? It says peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty. So if a person does not have any of these qualities, not qualified to be a Brahmana, right? So we are talking so much about Brahmanas, everything, right? So today it might be very difficult to find that pure Brahmana. But then a pure Brahmana is someone who has all of these 9 qualities, right? And then Kshatriya, he should have a heroism because his determination is to protect the his state, his children in the sense the state's children, right? Like the king. So that is what the Kshatriya should be doing, right? The courage in a battle. So what does our covered politicians everyone do? So actually they will try to sell their country for some money, random information, and to help themselves make more money. What they will do? They sell that information to other countries also. So that exactly that what happens, right? So understanding these orders of lives, if I'm a Brahmana, this is the quality that I should have. I should be prescribing my doing my duty like this. If I'm a Kshatriya, right, I should be determined to do this. So by through that action is where it would help us to keep that order and then follow our life, right? And Vaishyas, who is Vaishyas? The farming, the co-production business. Even if there is one Vaishya, right, one pure Vaishya in the village, it is assured that the whole village will be taken care because he'll ensure that no person or no animal actually in that village would actually starve or be without food. he'll ensure that the pure Vaishya, right? And then the same example that what we saw back then, even the businessmen, everything. So they always used to give, how do I help the society? That's the kind of attitude that what. Forget about today's business. It's always how do I extract more money? How do I be more selfish? How do I cheat this person? So that is a kind of thing that what we have, right? So that is Vaishya and Shudras, and in fact, these are representatives of the Lord, right? So Brahmanas is like the head of the Lord, right? Where the intelligence is, right? So where the intelligence, all the jnana, all of the scholarly things is with the Brahmana. So that it should help with rest of the person who is in the world to get impart the knowledge. That is the purpose of Brahmana. That means that is the prescribed duty of a Brahmana to do with that Paurahitya and giving that knowledge, making sure that he elevates the souls in everyone. It is not that it should be given to only this person, not to Shudra. No, a Brahmana should give knowledge to everyone, right? That is the and what about the Kshatriya? Kshatriya is nothing but the Lord's hands, actually. So what is the duty of the hands? To protect, to make ourselves, keep ourselves clean, to protect things. So that is the Kshatriya. And what about the Vaishya? Is nothing but the tummy part of it. We should ensure that we have enough material things, opulences, food. He ensuring that he gives them everything that what material they need to conduct their daily chores. So that is the duty of the Vaishya. What about Shudra? The legs. They should help us go anyway. They should help us in our taking care of things, helping us to complete the daily chores. So that is the duty of a Shudra. But what happens? We do none of those prescribed duties in our papa. So am I a good father? Am I completing my duty? Even when I am an employee to employer, am I doing my duty completely without having to save some hours or do something illogically or irreligion? No, we don't worry about all of it. But when we do, so that is where we are completing our prescribed duty without having to get attached to it. Right? And perfection through work. Who is the person on the right hand side? If you see, dear duties, do you recognize him? He's nothing but the president of the Ford company, Henry Ford, right? So he is the initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada, actually, right? So even being such a scholar, probably a great personality with so much of money to his credit, he has followed that order of life, right? And here also in the below we see that there is a there is an actress who is actually doing that painting of Lord Krishna. And below we see that there are people who probably worker at a company or something, they're doing that Sankirtana and then helping people chant or do the Sankirtana. And there is also a soldier on the middle, right? Where you see that before he can go to that battle, he's actually chanting, right? So what this says, one can become perfect by doing all the duties of his respective varna for the Lord's pleasure. I can be a father. I can continue to be a father. I have to, right? I can continue to be a husband. I can continue to be a son. I can continue to be a wife or probably grandson. I can be in a position that where I am and still be able to do all of these prescribed duties perfectly when we serve the Lord. That means keeps Krishna in the center. How do I serve? How do I complete my duty with keeping Krishna in the center? So that is where the perfection would come through that work, right? And then attaining the supreme. How is that? Bhaktyamam abhijananti yavaschashmi tatvatah tatomam tatvatva jnanatva vishate tad anantaram. That means one can understand me as I am, as the supreme person of the Godhead, only by the devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Krishna assures. It's not that what we are saying here. Krishna assures that actually one who can be with that. And love of God, how it should be, right? So it is by the hope that what we should have, right? That Krishna has given us. Because the knowledge that what we get today is that about the Big Bang theory or about this theory of evolution that we came from monkey. So this is the kind of the false knowledge that what we get, right? Until another theory comes that okay, no, we did not come from monkey. Actually, we came from probably a tiger. Someone can give by that thesis. We will just disagree with this and go to that Darwin. We'll forget about Darwin and we'll go to Irving. So that is a kind of knowledge, right? Because it is not that science would give you the knowledge. Why knowledge is what you'll get the science? Because material science is also limited. So we have seen doctors, scientists, right? To a certain extent, they can explain things, but beyond that, what they will say, it is to the mercy of the Lord. Why is that? Because why we are not able to explain? Because there is a power which that God controls, right? It's not that everything that what I can, because the whole probably the deficiency of the Kali Yuga or the knowledge that today is everything that what we get, we try to fit into our material framework. That can I put that logic into that? Okay, so even this Bhagavad Gita class, right? So everything I would say. So if I put a bhoga or if I put naivedya to God, how will it become Mahaprasada? How will I get that? So I'll try to put that. Will Lord come and eat? So everything will try to put a logic by your material things. But we do not understand that material things are limited. That is where this knowledge is transcendent, right? So beyond our material things, that is where we should surrender into Krishna. And then the scriptures are the greatest resource that what we have, which no one else has. Right. But then what do? We think that okay, it's the age-old customs or ceremonies or superstition is what we think, and then we actually go and embrace that Western world. So what has done to us? It has only diminished our lifespan. It's only caused more and more pain, giving that shorter happiness. But we think that this is a permanent habit. That means having to wear probably a coat and then having to go to a company, earn lakhs together, just like probably an American or European. We think that okay, that is a success of life. No, the success of life is serving the Lord. It's not by gaining more material things, right? And then follow that, right? What is the depend on Krishna, following the principle of Bhagavad Gita under the guidance of the bona fide guru, because spiritual master is very important. We might think that okay, I'll read that Bhagavad Gita, I'll attend this class, and then get this knowledge. No, without the spiritual master, there is no question of. So that is where ISKCON is very completely different from, because there is a succession of that Guru Parampara, right? That means there is a spiritual master who imparted knowledge, and he said that okay, now you are authorized to give this knowledge to others. So until and unless, how do you become a doctor? Only when you are qualified to learn, when you're qualified in that exam, you go to that institution. So there are people who can teach you because they know things, and then they would certify you. Hey, now you're called as a doctor. You could go and do a surgery. So can I do that by reading through myself a books? I can operate on someone and I'll become a doctor. You can claim to be a doctor, but then you are authorized to do, you are not. In the same manner. So our spiritual master should authorize that. You should initiate and he should give us that knowledge. Only then we'll be able to serve the Lord. So without the spiritual master, no matter what, I might sit in my house and then do 108 rounds in every day. I may do all the boga everything, but until unless I have served the spiritual master, I have followed those instructions, right? I've been able to impart this knowledge to others, right? Serve the devotional service. Do with those. It is very impossible to reach the Lord, right? And what is the result of it? Personal protection. Because this is what Krishna says. That means I will complete all over the obstacles, right? Personally take you to supreme abode. So that is the reassurance that what Krishna gives, right? He says that Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaismi suchaha. That means I'll make sure that anything that causes sin, I'll take care and it doesn't affect you. And then I'll give you that liberation. And the way of hope, right? Abandon this is the verse I was reading. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Right? And then surrender to Krishna. How do we do that? Surrender only to Krishna and transcendental peace and that upon free from all sinful reaction. That is how we would get that. Right? And then what is the end result of it? Who can receive it, right? And so the knowledge that what we receive is very important that we should be able to impart because we should not be selfish, right? Oh, now I understood this knowledge. Let me start chanting, do all of Naivedyam, and let me confine myself. No, don't stop there. Impart this knowledge. Spend that whatever 10% of the money that what you get in the Lord service. Do that Sankirtana. Don't give it to someone else. Instead, you spend that money to buy the books and give it to others. Right? Do prepare prasadam and give it to others. So that is how we should be doing it. Just give me 1 second, dear devotees. Yeah. So there's one beautiful example of this one, right? So how should be the faith, or probably how should one should work according to that this one, right? According to the scripture. So we know Narada Muni, right? So Narada Muni happens to take a rounds of these three worlds, and then he comes to the earth, and there is one Brahmana who is very scholarly person, who is very knowledgeable, been doing all of these morning Sandhya, Gayatri very religiously, and then he serves. So he welcomes Narada Muni. Oh, my dear Narada Muni, you master, you are here. So let me serve. He would serve him completely. He will offer all the greatest of the great food that what he has. He serve him everything, and then Narada is okay. It's time for me to leave. So what? I'm anyways going to Narayana. What do you want me to help you anything? He says that okay, I would need to help master. So one is, so when do I get liberated? Okay, so that please help me and please ask that question to Narayana and answer me. And second one is, so also see what Narayana is doing, so that I'm just curious about what the Lord does in his free time. So then Narada says, then fine, he walks from out of the Brahmana's house and he's going on actually. And there is one cobbler actually. He's sitting down under the tree. He's stitching the slipper, shoe, and the people who had come down there. And he goes to that. So looking at, he realized that okay, Narada Muni is here. He pays his humble obeisances, doing the Dandavat Pranam, and says that, oh my dear master, please forgive me. I do not have anything to serve you, but then I have lunch. My lunch I have carried here. Okay, so I'm not sure whether I can serve you, but then if you're okay, I can serve this lunch to you. So then Narada Muni says, no, no, I'm happy that at least you have that this one, the mindset to serve me. I'm happy about that. But anyway, I'm going back to Vaikunta. So let me know if you need any help. So then he'll ask the same question. Like, I would just want to know how, when will I get liberated? And same thing, I just want to know what Lord is doing, because I do not have any knowledge of the scripture. I don't know Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and because I'm not qualified for it. But because I saw you, maybe next time when you come, you can give me that knowledge. So then he says, all right, then he goes back to Lord Narayana and then says Narayana, Narayana is looking at him very happy. So then, but then he sees that probably the puzzled the question face on Narada's, and then the Lord asks him, so what is actually going on in your mind, Narada? Then Narada says, my dear Lord, I was on earth, we were taking rounds, and I met this Brahman and a cobbler, and they have questions. What is it? So they both of us want to know when they'll get liberated. Oh, you mean the Brahmana? Yes. The person who does all the Gayatri, everything? Yes, yes, Father. He is the one. Tell him that he would get liberated in next thousands lives. So then Narada is very surprised. You mean that Brahmana who is doing all of this austerities, getting imparting the knowledge to all the other people, he'll get liberated in thousand, he'll take thousand lives? Yes, he would. And he also has another, he says that, okay, he cannot question Lord, right? So he says that, okay, fine, I'll convey the same. He'll ask the next question. My dear Lord, there's one more question that he wants to understand what you do in your free time. So then Narayana says that, so tell him that actually I have taken elephant in my hands and then trying to put through that elephant through that hole of the needle. Actually, I'm just trying to get that elephant through that needle instead of a thread. Then Narada is very perplexed, and then he says that, fine, Lord, if that is what you want, I'll convey the same. Then the next question, I say that, okay, what do I tell about that cobbler? So cobbler says that in this life only he'll get liberated. Now Narada is completely perplexed. Then he'll find, he'll go back. He goes to that Brahmana first. He'll pay that Brahmana will pay his obeisance and say that, oh my dear Lord, I'm happy to see you back. So did you ask? His servant will ask the question. So did you get to ask that question? Yes. He says, how, when will I get liberated? You will get thousand lives. So Brahmana is very, he'll laugh at it. He'll say that I am the one who will doing all of this service to the Lord. Every day I'll go make garlands, serve the Lord, everything, and then so I will get thousand lives to complete this. So this is very surprising. Okay, what was he doing? He says that the Lord was actually taken the elephant and he was trying to insert through that needle hole. So then again, Brahmana laughs at it. So what are you saying? You think he's a fool that he would take an elephant and then he'll insert through that needle? How is that even possible? I think you are lying. No, no. Then Narada says, no, no. This is the truth. Actually, that is exactly what that Lord was doing. So then Brahmana says, okay, probably Narada is not telling the truth, and he pays his obeisance and continues. Then from then on, Narada comes to this cobbler actually. So then the cobbler is sitting there, he pays his obeisances, and then he says that, okay, you'll get liberated in this life. So then the cobbler is very happy. So what kind of a mercy that Lord has? Why did he cause this mercy on such an useless, such an abominable life soul like me? that he has to liberate. So what qualification did I have to do that? And then what was Lord Narayana doing in his free time? So then Narada explained that he was trying to actually insert that elephant through the needle. So then hearing that, the cobbler is very happy. He acknowledged and says that, so the Lord was doing that. Why did he have to even take that effort? By doing that Icha Shakti itself, he could have done that. Did he take that elephant trying to do? So what a kind a Lord is that he was trying to do all by himself. It's just by Icha Shakti he could do. So you see the difference here, right? So even being a Brahmana, right? What is the kind of faith that what that Brahmana had on the Lord? Right? And even being a cobbler, where he was just doing stitching the slippers, or probably every time he would stitch the slipper, he would say Narayana. And one more knot he would do, he would say Narayana. So that is the kind of life that what he was leading, right? And what is the result of it? Of course, you cannot live it in the same life. And this is the story of the Bhagavatam. It's not that this is a story that what we're just narrating here randomly. So this is the kind of a devote that how Lord takes care. What is the end result of it, right? So when we follow the scriptures, right? So when we're completely into it, right? So that is where Lord helps us attain that supreme destination also, right? And who can receive it? One who was devoted, right? Same example of that cobbler, right? Who is not envious, not envying about our neighbors, not envying that, oh, he has got a house, I'll get another, right? He has got probably a XUV 300, I'll get XUV 700, right? Not by enemy being of our sisters or the brothers or the people around us or our, right? By being selfless, right? How do I serve the Lord? That should be the attitude. And who can be a friend, just like Arjuna, right? And who has a self-control. Same can with the Arjuna also, right? When Arjuna was all perplexed and confused about, I'm killing my own grandfather, I'm killing my own guru or the cousins. So what did Krishna say is that, Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. So what is your duty? Your duty is only to protect your children and your people. And what you are doing is exactly the same. Forget about rest of the results. Then what happens? You do complete your duty, and whatever you are supposed to do is already been taken care, right? And you're only instrument. So by that knowledge, what Arjuna received, and then he went on to kill everyone, right? And the story that okay, everyone got liberated Kurukshetra, and it was actually arranged by Krishna. That's a different story. But then one who prescribes that duty, right? One who is devoted, non-envious, who is a friend and self-control can do that. Then you would have a self-control, right? Then Krishna gives you freedom. So this is a beautiful verse, right? It says, "Iti te jnanam akshatam guhya guhyataram maya vimashyat asesena yatta chastita tatkuru." So what he says, thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. So this is the confidential of all the confidential knowledge, right? Whatever we learned through the soul, the super soul, the three modes of nature, how they influence every activity that what will, how does it bind. So all of the whatever knowledge that what we have got is a confidence. That means it will not be, you will not be able to get that in this material world, right? And deliberate on this fully. That means to meditate on this and then do what you wish to do. So Krishna is not actually dictating. You won't do this, you won't. No, by doing this, what you will get? By doing all the sense gratification, you'll get bound to these material things. By serving me, you will get liberated. Right? He is giving you the option, right? So that way you'll be able to achieve me is what he says, right? So Krishna gives that freedom, right? Nasto moha smriti labdha tvat prasadan machuchate titosmi gata sandeha karishe vachanam tava. My dear Krishna, oh infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. So what he has regained, that whatever whoever is killing, he should not be attached to them by this family or his relationship, right? So I have regained my memory that I am a Kshatriya. I should do my prescribed duty. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I'm prepared to act according to your instruction because he has accepted. And then anything that you say, because whatever Krishna says is dharma. Krishna says that, oh, go and die, so that is the dharma. There is no question of other things, right? Because dharma and what Krishna says, nothing but the same, right? And one who distributes this knowledge, right? So this where Krishna is also adding this in the last verses of 18, right? Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakti abhidyashanti bhakti mai param kratva mam evasya asmasaya. That means for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, to the other people who are not aware of this, right? Pure devotional service is guaranteed. That means that itself is a devotional service. So we should, so whatever, so because I got this knowledge with someone like Chandrasekhar Prabhu's, Sindhu Mataji, and many of the representatives who are actually helping us here, right? So we got that knowledge, right? So without having to probably expect anything, right? So it's not that okay, we do this and we get money. No, right? So by having this knowledge, we're actually imparting to someone so that it helps them get that knowledge. So that's a devotional service, right? And at the end of it, he will come back to me. I'll assure that he is assuring this. Krishna is assuring this, right? So one who actually goes and impart this knowledge, one who goes serves and distribute this supreme knowledge to all the other devotees or the people, right? So I'll make sure that I'll get him back to my abode, that is Goloka Vrindavan, right? And then one who studies worship me by intelligence, and then it also says here one who listens with faith, free from sinful reaction and attains. And so that is where doing that Sankirtan, because doing that japa, kirtana, listening to Hari Katha, so all of this is nothing but the listening, right? So that itself is actually helping you to pass through this material world, Bhavasagar, and get that spiritual knowledge, right? And then, so wherever there is a Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also be certainly opulence, victory, external power, and morality. So Krishna, the Lord, is there, and Arjuna is nothing but the devotee. So what Krishna is saying here, wherever I am present and my devotees, right? And what is there? It is all the opulences, victory, and extraordinary power. So in fact, when you submit yourself, right? So there's something called as a vakshuddhi. Vakshuddhi it is called. That means a pure devotee, whatever he speaks, right, it will become the truth. So we also have such a beautiful example in Bhagavatam also, right? So one of the devotee, he says something a shloka wrong, right? So then Krishna actually goes and corrects that, in the sense he make himself wrong and actually he corrects the book itself. So that is how Lord submit reciprocates to the devotee. That means whatever the devotee speaks, it will be truth. Even if we say asad, it will become truth. So that is the power of a devotee when he does submit himself to the Lord. So Krishna says here that when I am and my devotees are present, it is nothing but the victory. That exactly that what happened to Arjuna also, right? So what did we learn in chapter 18 before that? So if we are to so there is one beautiful. We'll end this with one beautiful story, dear devotees. So which is very important. I know it's a time. We are almost at like 7:21, but this should take another 3-4 minutes, and we'll end there. So this beautiful story, right? So there is a king actually. So he doesn't have children for a very long time, and he's very longing to have one. And so one of the sadhu who comes to his court, he would say that okay, you serve this your all the children of your kingdom. Make sure that every desire that each of them have, you meet that. You'll get children. So with that, the king what he will do, and in another there's also other thing he says that. So by doing that, actually you will attain that sukruti. So you might also get this in the next generation, if not in this. So this is what exactly that he says. So then, the king also wants to satisfy everyone's desire that whatever we have, what each of them have, whatever satisfaction that what they need. So what he would just ask his ministers to go and put out this message to the whole kingdom. So he does that, and people who needed some, there are people who needed to get their daughters married. They'll come and take their help. There are people who do not have work, so you'll make sure that you get their work in that asthana, so that people who are very poor, so we'll give them the money. And there are people who are actually struggling in their business, he'll help them. There are people who are very old, where the children are not able to take care, he'll make that Vruddashrama. So everything that what each of them need, so they would get there. So then on one fine day, after a couple of months, the king asked the minister, now minister, is that ensured that every person in my kingdom has been taken care, are they happy? Then the minister says, yes, my dear Lord, everyone is happy. And we said, there is one person who has not come to us. Then king says that what happened? Like, do they need something which we cannot give? No, 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 my dear king. Not sure what it is, but she's a old lady. I don't think she would need much. But then she has not come down. So then king says that okay, do one thing, you go by yourself, okay, and get that lady. So let's see how we can serve her. So then the minister goes to that lady and says that okay, the king has summoned you, so you should come all at once. So then the lady, the old lady, she is actually almost her she has all got the gray hair with using that stick. She comes down to that court and she says that okay, but Murder King, I'm not here. So why is it? Because I'm just serving, trying to serve the whole kingdom by giving whatever they need. Why is that you are not here? So then that lady says, my dear king, the only thing that what I need is to serve you, but then I don't have anything because I'm very poor. So then the king says that, what do you mean? How do you want to serve? Nothing, my dear king. I just want to make sure that I want to take you to my house and then serve you with probably a meal or two so that I can see your happy face. I can sit beside you and feed you so that but then I have my house, where I live is a very small hut. Again, that also is completely drenched during the rainy season. I don't have anything and I don't have much to make because I myself struggle to get my meal in every day. So then at once king orders his minister says that please ensure that everything is to be taken care and I want to have association of this old lady as my mother and then I would go and have prasadam in her house. So just imagine if a king has to go to a place and do just what happens in today's world. If a prime minister has to come to a place, so what kind of arrangements is made? So people would come down, make sure that all the roads are properly made. So all the arrangements, all the security, the place where he is going to eat, everything's taken. So just imagine that if this is happening during the king's place, right? So the ministers would actually keep that lady in probably like a five-star hotel, international hotel, that place of a place they will see. Oh my dear mother, say be here for a couple of days or weeks. We'll ensure that everything in order. So they'll build a very beautiful palace, actually a small palace. What they will build where the king can live. They'll make all the arrangement. They'll make a very beautiful kitchen where that lady can cook. So bring all the utensils, all the groceries, best of the best groceries and utensils with all that with silver and gold spoon, everything they will keep and everything they will arrange almost like in a couple of weeks and then they'll come and inform the king. Oh my dear lord, so now so everything is arranged. Now you can you can meet that lady and we also go to that lady and say that oh, my dear mother, you can go and now serve the king. So then that lady goes back to that palace. So she has all that. She goes to that kitchen, cooks with all her love. She'll make that prasadam, and then king comes down. She puts with her hand, and then the king is also very happy. Now you think that you have got like I have given you everything that you need. Yes, now my heart is very content, my dear king, that I'm able to serve you with the way I thought. So what do you understand from this story, dear devotees? The story tells us that that lady, right? So although she is being, she is very old, she is poor, so she does not have anything in her life. The only thought what she had to serve the king, right? The thought what she had to serve the king, and what she did she get? Everything that what she did not have materially, right? The house to live, such a great pleasure, a material pleasure that what one would not be treated with like anyone else, and whatever she needed to lead her life, the kitchen, the utensils, and the groceries, everything that they need, and she'll be taken care for rest of her life also, right? So just by having a thought of to serve the Lord, right? Whereas other people who overcame there, right? They wanted to have what they needed for, right? So if someone needed a money, he got a money. Someone needed a job, he got a job. Someone needed probably a Vruddhashrama, he got Vruddhashrama. But then this lady actually had an intention to serve the king. So just by having a thought to serve the king, right? A king of probably kingdom, right? Probably like a small portion of a country, right? So if that is what she get, just imagine what if you have intention to serve the Lord, who is Akila Kondi Brahmanda Nayaka, right? Who is the Lord of all the demigods, who is a Lord of everything, who is the cause of all the cause. If you have intention to serve that person, the Lord, that what we know of, right? Just imagine what he can do to us, that Father. He would give everything that what we need, right? He would give that walk shuddhi. He would make that nature react to us, that prakriti react to us, right? So that story should tell us that what should be your intention, right? So when we do that service to the Lord, He would take care of everything that what we need. So with that, we'll end this chapter 18, dear devotees. So tomorrow we would have the conclusion of all the 18 chapters. That means we would go through the summary of all the chapters of all the 18 chapters, and we'll end there. And we'll also there has been a poll which has been sent. Those who want to go to that next level, dear devotees. So please do submit that. We will send a reminder on it. So please do submit that poll, yes or no, that you would want to go. So then we'll create that, and we'll also explain about what is the procedure that what we carry in those groups also, so that it helps you inform and make a better decision on joining or not joining, right? And then so this moksha sannyasa yoga, right? So what we saw in this chapter is moksha. That means we saw what is that summary of the karma yoga, right? So what should be our motivation, kind of renunciation. We saw that example of that sadhu and that lady who is serving her husband, right? So it is not by renunciating the material things, but even doing my prescribed duty, how am I serving the Lord? So that is a kind of attitude that what we have. And with the different kinds of modes of nature, the goodness, rajoguna, tamoguna, passion, ignorance, how they're influencing, and what kind of action that I should be taking is what is. And who's the ideal worker? We saw that, right? That example of Vaishya and Kshatriya and Shudra, each of them, how they should be prescribing their duty. The cobbler and the Brahmana also. And then what should be your love of God? So what should be your hope? We saw the beautiful example of that lady, right? Even being having the thought to serve the king, right? She could attain so much. But what if we can't serve the Lord Himself? So what that Father can give me, right? Just imagine about it, right? And who can receive this, all of this knowledge, everything? One who submits ourselves, and then one who follow the instruction of the spiritual master. Yes, right? And tomorrow we already saw that we are going to learn on the conclusion of all the chapters. And what is the next level? And we also will have time to get your feedback. So please do provide your feedback, any suggestions or anything that what you think that what we can improve on, what went good. So what is that did you learn? What is the takeaway in this 18-day session, right? So it will help us plan better for our next sessions also. Please do provide feedback. And then we'll also, so today we might be just seeing Atul Prabhu or Kishan Prabhu, right? So, and Chandrasekhar Prabhu and Singh Masi. But then, so there are a lot of people. So there is a Bhavani Mataji, and there are Jyoti Mataji, and there are Prakash Musa, a lot of representatives. And you also must have received calls during your initial days, right? So people would have called you and then said that, hey, Mataji Prabhu, so there is a session happening, you should attend. So there are a lot of people who have helped in this effort to bring this knowledge to you, right, in the service of the Lord. So we would also have induction, all of those representatives also in the tomorrow session, right? So and there's the last quiz which will be sent. Please make sure that you attend that quiz, right? And we'll also send you the links of all the 18 days quizzes also, right? So that if you missed anything, you'll also get a chance to attend those quizzes, right? So let's chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So before we end this session. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. And it says, so iti sodaknamam kalimam nashanam nata paratrupaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. That means Iti Shodakasham Namanam. That means in this Kali Yuga, right? If you go and search all the Vedas, if you go and search all the Vedas, everything, right? There's nothing better than this Harinam, which can lift you from this Kali Yuga. That means nothing which can lift you from this Kali Yuga apart from this Harinam. So that's what this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is, right? So this is our Lord Narsimha, Lakshmi Narsimha, and then Gandharvika Giridhari, and the HBR temple. So if there are any questions, we will take it, or else over to you, Atul Prabhu, and we can end the session. I'm really sorry, dear duties, for going over time. And yeah, please, for tomorrow, please keep all of your feedbacks, everything handy so that you can share it with the group. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Atul.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. It was a wonderful session, though it was prolonged for some time, but never to worry. We enjoyed all the stories. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Any questions?